In the far edge of the galaxy, above a dying red star, floated the royal kitchen of the Galactic Empire, a place where flavors ruled like kings and aromas decided fates. Inside the shining hall of metal and fire, Chef Xylar worked alone. He was not just any chef. He was the Emperor's personal tastemaster, the most honored cook in 10,000 star systems. His food could make a warrior weep or make a queen forgive a war. Xylar had cooked for every race, insectoids, gas breathers, crystal eaters. His knives could cut through diamond. His spices were mined from dying planets. He believed there was nothing left to taste, nothing new to discover. He often said, "In my kitchen there are no surprises left, only perfection." But one day a small grey crate arrived. No mark of royalty, no seal of a noble house. Just a tag written in strange letters from an unknown world. His kitchen assistant, a floating orb named Rin, read the note aloud. Origin planet Earth, contents human food samples. Xylar raised one long brow ridge. Humans, those primitives, they still cook with fire, don't they? Rin blinked. Yes, Master. A level 3 civilization. Very basic technology. The samples were collected from something they call restaurants, Xylar chuckled. How amusing, very well. Let us see what these humans think food is. He waved his claw and the crate opened with a soft hiss. Inside were small sealed boxes. The air filled with strange but pleasant smells. Cooked meat, melting cheese, roasted spices. Inside the boxes were simple-looking items, a burger, a bowl of noodles, something brown called chocolate, and a small bottle labeled hot sauce. Rin scanned the items. No rare minerals, no exotic acids, very ordinary, Master. But Xylar's curiosity stirred. He had tasted everything, but not this. Not food made by beings who still feared the dark, who still lived under open skies. He lifted the burger carefully, sniffing the air. There was warmth, fat, sweetness, smoke, something alive about it. He bit, and then silence. The stars outside seemed to flicker. The sound of his kitchen faded. For one long, endless second, Xylar was not in his kitchen anymore. He was standing under a blue sky. He could feel wind, hear laughter, smell grass. Someone nearby was cooking and smiling, enjoying life. The taste carried memories that weren't his. Love, family, hunger, joy. It was chaos and comfort together. He dropped the burger onto the table, his claws trembling. Impossible, he whispered. How can this primitive dish hold emotion? Rin floated closer. Master, are you unwell? Xylar stared at the half-eaten food, eyes wide. No, I am alive. He tried another bite, slower this time. The flavor deepened like a song. Not perfect, not clean, but real. He turned toward Rin. Who made this? Which human cooked this? Rin scanned the label. It says, The Burger Hub, New York City. Location, planet Earth. Xylar's hands tightened. Earth, he repeated softly. A forgotten world at the edge of the Orion Arm. How could they create such wonder? He tasted the chocolate next and gasped. Sweet, soft, dark, but filled with sadness. A memory of someone giving it as a gift, perhaps love lost long ago. He tasted the noodles, simple, warm, full of comfort. It felt like home even though he had none. Each bite broke something inside him. Every flavor told a story, not of ingredients but of hearts. He had never believed food could feel alive, and yet now he felt every beat of it. Hours passed. He tasted everything again. He mixed, he analyzed, but no machine could explain the magic. It wasn't chemical. It wasn't science. It was human. Finally, he stood before the stars, whispering to himself, For centuries I have cooked for power. But humans, they cook for something else. For a connection. He looked at the small blue planet's coordinates glowing on his console. Planet Earth. Rin beeped nervously. Master, your shift begins soon. The Emperor's banquet. Xylar cut him off. Tell the Emperor, I am taking a break. Master, that is not allowed. You cannot abandon. Xylar's 4 eyes glowed faintly. Then let them find another chef. I must know the truth of this flavor. He walked toward the docking bay, his chef's robes flowing like a shadow. The alarms began to ring as he entered his personal ship, the Silver Spoon. Destination set, planet Earth, he said calmly. Rin followed, worried. If you go, they will call you a traitor. Xylar smiled for the first time in 1,000 years, then let them. I have tasted something worth rebellion. The ship engines roared to life. The stars stretched into lines. The royal kitchen faded behind him. In the silence of space, Xylar whispered, "Humans, what secret do your flavors hide?" As his ship vanished into hyperspace, the crate of human food sat empty, except for one small bottle of hot sauce, its label glowing faintly red. Rin looked at it once more and murmured to himself, "Strange. It says warning too hot to handle." The bottle shimmered, and somewhere, far across the stars, a human chef smiled, unaware that her simple cooking had just changed the fate of a galaxy. Stars drifted past the small silver ship like falling snow. Inside, Chef Xylar stood at the control deck, staring at the glowing blue dot on his screen, Earth. He had left behind everything, his empire, his fame, his kitchen, just to taste the truth. His ship AI. Rin floated beside him, humming softly. "Master," Rin said, "we are crossing the border of the Galactic Empire. Once we pass, your signal will vanish from their system." "Good," Xylar replied. "Let them think I am gone." Rin hesitated. "You are risking everything for food from a primitive world." Xylar smiled slightly. "Not for food, Rin. For meaning. The taste I found in that burger, it was more than flavor. It was life itself." For the first time in centuries, Xylar felt something new, curiosity mixed with excitement. He didn't know what he would find, but he knew it would change him forever. Hours later, Earth appeared before them. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds swirling like paint. "So beautiful," Xylar whispered. "A planet that still breathes." He set the ship to land quietly near a small city. His scanners showed lights, noise, and thousands of heat signals. Humans. So many humans. When the ship landed in an empty junkyard outside the city, the air was thick with strange smells. Metal. Smoke, fried food, rain. Xylar stepped out, covering his head with a hood. He looked at the city in the distance. Tall buildings, lights blinking like stars, and sounds of laughter, music, and traffic. He walked slowly toward it, feeling both out of place and alive. Soon, he reached a crowded street filled with food stalls. The air danced with the smell of spices, grilled meat, and sweet bread. Humans lined up, talking, laughing, eating. Xylar's eyes widened. They eat outside. Together? Rin, disguised as a small drone, floated beside him. "Strange behavior, Master. Eating in public." But Xylar shook his head. "No, it is beautiful." He stopped at a small stand where an old man was cooking noodles in a steaming pot. The sound of sizzling filled the air. "Would you like to try, sir?" the man asked kindly. Xylar nodded, trying to hide his alien features under his hood. "Yes." One bowl. He watched the man cook, fast, skillful, but with joy in every movement. The man hummed softly, smiling at his work. When the noodles were ready, Xylar took a bite. Instantly, warmth spread through him. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't fancy, but it felt alive, is made with heart, not machines. Xylar whispered, "This taste." "It's the same feeling as before," the man laughed. "It's just noodles, my friend." "Nothing special," Xylar shook his head. "No, it's everything." He walked for hours after that, tasting more food, fried chicken, ice cream, tacos, coffee. Every flavor carried emotions, happiness, comfort, love, even sadness. In his world, food was created for power. Here, food was created for connection. Finally, he stopped outside a small restaurant glowing with warm light. A wooden sign read, "Maya's Kitchen." Inside, a young woman was cooking behind the counter. She hummed softly while flipping something in a pan, golden, crisp, and delicious smelling. Xylar entered slowly. Maya looked up and smiled. "Hi there." "You look lost. Come in, sit down." "Want to try my special?" He nodded. "Yes, please." She served him a plate of grilled chicken with herbs and sauce. It looked simple, but the smell was powerful. Xylar took one bite, and again the world changed. This taste was not about perfection. It was about love, care, and home. He could feel the chef's soul in every flavor. He looked up at her, amazed. "So you made this?" Maya laughed. "Yeah, who else?" Xylar leaned forward. "How do you make food like this? It feels alive." She blinked, confused. "Alive? I just cook for people." "Food is supposed to make them happy." Xylar thought for a moment. You cook to make others happy. Of course, Maya said, smiling. That's what food is for. You feed someone, you share your heart. That's how we connect. Xylar sat in silence. Her words hit him harder than any royal speech. In the Empire, he had cooked to impress. Here, humans cooked to share. He looked around. People were laughing, eating, living. This small restaurant felt warmer than the entire Galactic palace. That night, Maya closed the shop and found Xylar still sitting there. You okay? She asked. So you've been here for hours. Xylar smiled faintly. I have cooked for emperors, but never for friends. You have shown me something greater than perfection. Maya tilted her head. You're a chef too. Yes, he said softly. From far away, she grinned. Then welcome to Earth, chef. Tomorrow I'll teach you how to make pancakes. Pancakes? He repeated, curious. Oh yeah, she said proudly. The true breakfast of happiness. Xylar chuckled for the first time in ages. Then I will learn. But as they talked high above the clouds, something stirred. A massive Imperial ship scanning the system. Inside that ship, a cold voice said, We have found him. The royal chef has betrayed the Empire. Down on Earth, Xylar looked at the night sky, unaware of the danger. He whispered to himself, Humans. Your flavors hold the universe's secret. And now the galaxy will come for it. The stars shimmered faintly, as if listening, and the story of the galactic chef had only just begun. Above the blue planet called Earth, the Galactic Empire's cruiser Iron Flame appeared from hyperspace, silent, massive, and deadly. Its silver hull glowed like a blade under the stars. Inside, Commander Varin stood before a hologram of Chef Xylar. His 4 eyes narrowed in anger. The royal chef abandons his duty, he growled. He steals Imperial secrets and runs to a primitive world? Unforgivable. Beside him, an officer said, Should we inform the Emperor? Varin shook his head. No, we will capture him quietly. If the people learn that the royal chef tasted forbidden food, it could spread chaos. He turned toward his soldiers. Find him, alive. The order echoed through the ship. Drones launched, scanning every continent for one alien hiding among billions of humans. On Earth, night had fallen. Inside Maya's kitchen, the lights were dim. The smell of baked bread filled the air. Xylar stood behind the counter, wearing an apron too small for him. He was clumsy but focused, watching Maya flip pancakes. She laughed. You look serious. It's just breakfast, not a royal ceremony. He smiled softly. Where I come from, food is a weapon of power. Here it is joy. I prefer this way. She handed him a spoon. Try the syrup. He tasted it, eyes widening. Sweet, simple, and yet powerful, Maya grinned. That's human food for you, Herr. Simple but full of heart. For a moment everything was peaceful. Then Rin's voice buzzed softly from his pocket. Master, incoming alert. Imperial signal detected in low orbit. Xylar froze. They found me. Maya looked up. Found you? Who? He looked into her eyes, serious. People from my world. Dangerous ones. They will not stop until they take me back. Above them, dark shapes entered Earth's atmosphere. Bounty hunters, half machine, half beast. They landed near the city, scanning the area. Xylar turned off the lights. Maya, stay quiet. They can track energy signatures, Maya whispered. We can hide in the basement. They moved quickly. Down a narrow stairway into the cold cellar filled with boxes of flour and bottles of sauce. Xylar sat down, thinking. If they find me, they will destroy everything here. Your restaurant, your city, maybe even your planet. Maya frowned. Then we don't let them find you. He looked at her, this small human standing bravely against the galaxy's might. He felt something strange. Admiration. Up above, the bounty hunters scanned the streets. One of them stopped at Maya's kitchen, its metal eyes glowing red. It pushed open the door, sniffing the air. Target scent detected. Down in the basement, Xylar whispered, Stay behind me. The door crashed open. A tall figure stepped down the stairs, holding a plasma blade. Xylar stood up slowly. I will not return, the hunter growled. Your food betrayed the Empire, chef. You belong to them. Xylar's claws tightened. No, I belong to myself now. The hunter lunged forward, and Xylar grabbed the nearest object he could find. It was a bottle of hot sauce. He hurled it straight at the hunter's face. The bottle shattered, red liquid splashing everywhere. Steam rose. The hunter screamed. Falling backward, smoke pouring from its eyes, Maya gasped, "Did you just beat a killer? With hot sauce?" Xyla smiled faintly. "Human weapons are stronger than they appear." They both laughed softly, even as the walls shook with more footsteps above. "More are coming," Rin warned. "At least 3 units." Maya's hands shook. "We can't fight them all." Xylar closed his eyes. "Then we do what humans do best. We improvise." He ran up the stairs, grabbed every cooking pot, pan, and bottle he could find. He poured oil across the floor, mixed spices into the air, and heated the stove until it glowed. When the next hunter entered, the air exploded in a storm of flame and scent. Curry, garlic, pepper, and smoke. The alien coughed. Blinded by the strong aroma, Maya threw flour in its face. The two of them worked together like chefs in a strange battle kitchen. Xylar swung a frying pan. Maya hurled pepper. Rin overloaded the lights. When the smoke cleared, the hunters were down, their senses fried by flavor and fire. Maya leaned against the counter, laughing breathlessly. "You just fought aliens with cooking." Xylar chuckled. Perhaps the galaxy has underestimated human cuisine. But then Rin's voice grew dark. "Master, Empire reinforcements are coming. A large ship just entered the atmosphere. You cannot stay here." Maya's smile faded. "You're leaving, aren't you?" Xylar nodded slowly. "If I stay, your world will burn." "They want me, not Earth." She looked down, her voice soft. "Then let me help you. I know people, friends who can hide you." He hesitated, then touched her shoulder gently. "You have already helped me, Maya. You reminded me why food matters." Outside, the sky began to glow red, the Empire's ship descending. Xylar looked up through the window. "The Empire believes it owns taste itself. They are wrong. Humans cook with something they will never understand in heart." He turned to Maya. "Keep cooking. Don't let them take that from you." She smiled sadly. "And you, don't stop fighting." Xylar grabbed a small bag of ingredients and Rin floated beside him. They ran toward the back door, disappearing into the dark streets. Above the clouds, Commander Varin watched the fire from orbit. "He is resisting," he said coldly. "Prepare the final command. If he will not return, we will destroy the evidence." "Destroy?" the officer asked. "That means the planet—" "Yes," Varin interrupted. "Earth will burn." The order was sent. And as Xylar and Maya ran through the night, unaware of the horror above, the sky began to flicker, bright lights gathering, engines of destruction ready to strike. The Empire was coming for the taste that changed everything. The sky above Earth burned red. The Galactic Empire's warship, Iron Flame, hovered in the clouds like a black mountain ready to strike. Its cannons glowed with energy. Below, cities trembled in fear. Inside a small battered food truck hidden in the city outskirts, Chef Xylar worked quietly. The smell of roasted spices filled the air. Maya watched him, eyes wide. "You're really going to cook while they're about to destroy the planet?" Xylar smiled calmly, his 4 eyes glowing faintly. "Cooking is what humans do when everything else fails. They feed hope, even when the world is ending." Rin floated nearby, buzzing nervously. "Master, logic does not support this plan. The Empire will not be moved by taste." Xylar looked up. "No, Rin, not taste, feeling." He stirred the pot again, his movements slow and deliberate. Every sound, the bubbling sauce, the crackle of oil, felt like part of a song. Maya helped him chop vegetables, tears in her eyes. "If we're going down, at least we'll go down with flavor." Xylar chuckled softly. "That is the human way." Meanwhile, high above, Commander Varin watched the blue planet below. "Target locked," said an officer. "Ready to fire." Varin hesitated for a moment. "He was once the Empire's pride," he muttered. "Now he chooses to betray us with—" "Food?" The officer nodded. "Orders are orders, sir." But before the commander could speak again, a signal flashed on his screen. "Incoming transmission from the surface." Varin frowned. "Put it through." The hologram flickered, and there stood Xylar, covered in cooking stains, holding a steaming bowl. "Commander," he said calmly, "before you destroy this world, taste this meal." "One last dish from your old chef," Varin growled. "You dare mock the Empire?" "No," Xylar replied softly. "I dare to remind it what it has forgotten." Moments later, Xylar stood in the open field outside the city. The massive Empire dropship descended, wind whipping through the grass. Dozens of armored soldiers stepped out, their weapons ready. Maya stood behind him, clutching a pot. "You sure about this?" "Yes," Xylar said. "If they wish to see power, I will show them the power of taste." The soldiers surrounded them. Commander Varen himself stepped forward, his armor shining silver. "Xylar," he said, "you have one chance. Return to the Empire or Earth burns." Xylar nodded toward the table he had set up, a simple wooden stand covered with plates of food. Steam rose gently from the dishes. "I will not fight you," he said. "But I will feed you," Varen sneered. "Feed me?" "Eat," Xylar said softly. "Then decide if I should die." The commander hesitated, then took a bite of the dish before him, a simple stew made from earth ingredients. The moment the flavor touched his tongue, his expression changed. He saw flashes, not memories but feelings. A child sharing food, a family laughing, a soldier being comforted with a warm meal. He dropped the spoon, shaking slightly. "What is this?" Xylar stepped closer. "It is humanity. You taste not power but heart, the very thing the Empire has forgotten." The soldiers began whispering. Some tasted it too. Noodles, bread, roasted meat. Their faces softened. The weapons lowered. Maya watched, amazed. "It's working." Varen looked at Xylar. "Why? Why show us this?" "Because," Xylar said quietly, "you cannot conquer what you do not understand. Humans cook to connect, to heal, to live. That is their strength." He gestured toward the food. "Taste it, and you will know why I left your empire." Rin projected a live broadcast across the galaxy. Every screen in the Empire lit up, showing their once great chef serving food to soldiers on a primitive world. Aliens from every system watched in silence as their leaders tasted something no weapon could match. And then, something impossible happened. Tears rolled down Commander Varen's metallic face. He whispered, "For centuries we fought to control, but this food, it gives instead of taking." Xylar nodded. "Exactly. This is the true power, not domination but connection." He handed him a small piece of chocolate. "Taste this too." Varen hesitated, then bit it. For a moment he closed his eyes and smiled faintly. "I remember this feeling. Kindness." The transmission spread across space like wildfire. Millions watched the once cruel commander drop his weapon and kneel. He turned to his soldiers. "Stand down. No more destruction. The chef is right. This world deserves to live." The soldiers obeyed, stepping back. The giant ship in the sky dimmed its weapons. Maya let out a shaky laugh. "You did it. You actually did it." Xylar smiled softly. "No, humans did it. Their food did it." He looked at the rising sun in the distance. "Your planet just fed the galaxy hope." Later, as peace spread across the airwaves, Varen stood beside Xylar. "What will you do now, old friend?" Xylar looked at Maya. "Cook." Varen nodded slowly. "Then perhaps I will eat." They both laughed quietly, two old enemies sharing warmth over a human meal. As the camera drones floated around, broadcasting the moment to the galaxy, Xylar raised a spoon and said, "Let this be known, that one meal of peace can silence 1,000 wars." The crowd of soldiers cheered, and across the stars, millions of aliens tried human food for the first time. Something had changed, forever. The stars above Earth sparkled like jewels. But for Chef Xylar, the galaxy had never felt closer. After the Feast of Freedom, the Galactic Empire had retreated, its soldiers laying down their weapons, their hearts touched by the strange, powerful flavors of human food. Commander Varen, once cold and unyielding, now watched Xylar and smiled faintly, tasting the chocolate from Earth one last time. Xylar stood outside Maya's kitchen, looking at the small building that had become his new home. The smells of garlic, roasted meat, and fresh bread filled the air. For the first time he felt peace, not from power but from connection. Maya approached, carrying a tray of steaming pancakes. "Breakfast?" she asked. Xylar laughed, a deep sound that shook his alien throat. "Yes, let's eat, and then we will cook for the stars." Together, they opened the first intergalactic human restaurant, calling it the Blue Flame. It was small at first, just Earth food for curious humans and a few wandering aliens. But word spread fast. A traveler from the Andromeda cluster stepped inside, tasting his first human burger, eyes widening in shock. A two-headed insectoid tried chocolate, gasping as sweet warmth spread through its body. A crystal being sipped soup, trembling as it felt emotions it never knew existed. Xylar moved from table to table, smiling softly. "Taste with your heart," he said, "and you will see the universe in a new way." Back on Earth, the news of Xylar's rebellion and the Feast of Freedom spread like wildfire. Humans who had always thought of themselves as small and simple now saw their cuisine celebrated across galaxies. Rin floated beside Xylar, scanning incoming orders. "Master, you are receiving requests from more than 75 star systems." Xylar nodded. "Good. Let the galaxy learn what we humans already know. Food is not just survival. Food is life, connection, and love." Months passed. Species from hundreds of worlds traveled to Earth, not to conquer, not to fight, but to taste human cuisine. Xylar trained alien chefs, showing them how to stir with care, season with love, and serve with warmth. Maya laughed at his teaching style, precise, almost ceremonial, yet full of joy. "The Empire tried to take you," she said one evening, "but look at what you gave them instead." Xylar smiled. "I didn't give them anything. Humans gave it themselves, through every meal, every dish. Even Commander Varin visited the restaurant, sitting quietly in a corner, savoring bread baked with earth butter. He spoke softly, more to himself than anyone else. I thought I understood power, but this is greater." One night, as the last customer left, Xylar walked outside to watch the sunset over Earth's oceans. Maya joined him. "You changed the galaxy," she said softly. "No," Xylar replied, looking at the glowing horizon. "Humans did. I only followed their flavor." They watched as lights from distant starships flickered above. Travelers from far planets waved from their vessels, their claws, tentacles, and eyes full of joy. Xylar whispered, "A galaxy of empires once ruled by fear now smiles because of something as simple as food." Maya laughed softly. "And to think it all started with a burger." Xylar nodded, smiling faintly. "A small bite can change everything. If you let it." Years passed. The blue flame grew, becoming a hub of peace, learning, and connection. Species who once fought each other now shared tables. Humans taught, aliens learned, and the universe discovered a truth no empire could take. Heart matters more than power. Connection matters more than conquest. Xylar never returned to the Empire's kitchens. He didn't need to. His new kitchen reached further than any throne or army could. Through flavors and care, he changed the galaxy, one meal at a time. And every night as he closed the restaurant, he looked at Earth's glowing oceans and whispered, "Humans didn't just survive. They conquered hearts." Above, the stars seemed to sparkle a little brighter, as if applauding a small blue planet that had shown the universe the power of simple food and love.